Hello all, and welcome to today's comparison. It's middle of the afternoon, and I'm going to dub this comparison a mildly frustrating comparison. I got a lot of work done today. Renewed my security guard license, which was good. It's getting cheaper every time. Before it was like $200, now it's like $100, so I'm thankful for those small favors. A little bit frustrating because I've been trying to play Civilization 4 mod, and those things are just so unstable sometimes. It just drives me crazy. Um, I don't know why I keep on playing it. It just gets so frustrating towards the end game. But anyways, what are we going to be comparing today? We are going to be comparing the two famous styles here. Cognac versus Armagnac. Now, what can I say about both before I even pour it out? Well, this is probably going to be the last time you see both of these. I'm going to go and probably retire these, kind of at a half-filled mark, because I'm going to be using them for comparison reviews at a later time. But other comparison reviews with the VSOPs or XOs even, maybe. But yeah, I just wanted to go and compare the two styles. So, Cognac and Armagnac are two different brandies made in two different regions of France. And they're both made with white grapes, a selection of white grapes that I can't recall off the top of my head and are, not well known because they're not really wine grapes. They're used for brandy. And both styles are aged on white French oak. Now, how they differ is that Cognac is almost exclusively pot stilled, brewed in a pot still, and it is blended usually from several different barrels, several different estates. All of it is made by the distiller to kind of produce a house style, or trying to get a consistent product across the various years. Armagnac is generally distilled in columnar stills, which is basically a continuous distilling thing. Pot stills are... I really don't want to go and explain. It's kind of complicated. And, yeah. So, distilled in a slightly different manner. Generally speaking, people tend to think that pot stills are better than columnar stills, but it's not really a competition. It's all in, it's a matter of style, really. Armagnac, compared to Cognac, has a lot more regional sort of thing. So something will be from an estate as opposed to a distilling house, So it'll be from a single field or, well, I wouldn't say a single field, but a single maker. It'll be grown by a single maker and distilled. It's more like wine in that respect. It's from an estate as opposed to a blended product. These are both of the VS style, so roughly at least 3 years in the oak. I should mention that this is actually kind of atypical of Armagnacs in that it is partially pot distilled as well as columnar distilled. So this one is a blend of various barrels, I suppose I should say, in between 3 to 7 years old. This one is, I believe, 2 to 4 years old. You can kind of see here. And I've kind of yammered on enough. Let's just go to pouring. So this side will be the Cognac. This side will be the Armagnac. A little bit over poured, but that's okay. And also a little bit over poured. But again, it's also okay. Okay. So I don't want to make, like I said, this is not scientific. This is basically one cognac versus one Armagnac. But I want to go and show the difference in color here. Now, Courvoisier, the VS Courvoisier, some people say is a lot darker than most of the other Cognac VS, very specials. So, a bit darker, but I'd like to think that it's in general a little bit darker overall compared to Armagnacs here. So, almost a dark amber golden. This one's a light golden color. Difference in nosing. Much like the colors, I would say that the nose on this is a lot darker than this one. So this is fairly bright. Lots of fruity notes, like golden raisins and whatnot. Whereas this has a lot more barrel, actually, in the nose. This one still has some barrel in the nose. If I could say it, this one is a more honey aspect. This is a more treacle, even though it's more of a analogy I'm making here. As neither of them really is much honey, well, as it is like precursors. So some floral notes here, some stone fruit notes here. All in all, it's really interesting. It's a nice compare and contrast. Onto the palate, shall we? Lots of that oak barrel wooden notes in the mid to finish. Side notes are also a little bit darker, kind of like a milk chocolate in the finish. Now for the Armagnac. Much brighter. Grape-like fruit notes. Grape-like notes, I should not say fruit. Grape and fruit. Otherwise, people think grapefruit, and it's like, no, no, no. It has some notes of grape and raisin there. Floral. And if this is milk chocolate, this has hints of white chocolate in the long finish. Both of these are quite young and quite hot with alcohol as of yet. And both of them would be actually quite interesting to see what it would be like with a few more years in the barrel. And all in all, if I could just really boil it down, is that the real difference in between these two is one is slightly darker, more candied, and a lot more aged notes than the other. And Some of that might have to do with the way it's made. Some of it might have to do with the grapes and style. But I think what the biggest thing here is that this one is technically probably a lot older than this one. This one has a max of about 4 years. This one has a max of about 7. Um, so even though they're blended, you know what I mean? So all in all, I would venture that the main difference right now is a difference in age that really defines the difference in between the two of them. Obviously, there's other things there that the two styles are very different. And a lot of those taste notes there, like I said, a lot of those darker taste notes. I can see this one becoming a lot more leathery, a lot more spicy, whereas this one becomes more perhaps honeyed. Perhaps it'll maintain a sort of lighter smell and flavor profile. Whereas this one will be richer in its profile. Already seems a little bit richer too. I must say this one has a perception of more sugar as well. Let's go and see the legs here. Oh yes. I don't think you guys can see it too well. But the cognac definitely has much more thickness to it, viscosity. So, what do I like more? To be honest, I would have to say that the Courvoisier is more appealing to me at this point. Though I can say that the Janneau will probably be a bit more complex as time goes on. That's what I would kind of venture. I could be totally off because, like I said, this is an exploration on my part. It's not something I know very well, but I'm really enjoying. As you can see, I'm really enjoying this exploration into brandy. Well, folks, that is your Armagnac versus Cognac comparison review. And I am hoping to see all you guys later. I'm going to be reviewing another brandy. This one was a discount one that's rated on quite a few website lists as, you know, the best, one of the better discount brandies. Still costs around $20, but I mean, you know what I mean. So, and it'll also be just kind of exploring Spanish brandies there. So that's for next week. Don't know if I'll be doing that next or, you know, there's going to be a beer review next, but it is something that I will be doing. And that is your comparison for this week, folks. Cheers.